An ancient Egyptian papyrus describes a massive UFO encounter, a landing in Egypt witnessed by Pharaoh. Did the aliens arrive 3,500 years ago? There's no definite date when the first UFO sighting occurred on Earth. Many ancient wall paintings possibly show flying objects and visitors from outer space, and Egypt is considered to be the most mysterious historical place due to the immense pyramids, their origins, their culture, and ancient texts, and the so-called Tully Papyrus, which is believed to be the first evidence of ancient flying saucers or UFOs. This enigmatic text somehow describes the first written account of a massive UFO encounter. It occurred in ancient Egypt around the year 1480 BC. The ancient text tells about the high-speed flying machines that lit up the sky of Egypt before they disappeared into outer space. During the 18th dynasty, Egypt was at the peak of its powers. With the advent of the new kingdom, Egypt was reborn, which brought an advanced system of appointing new officials to the regime. The new dynasty was also known as the Thutmose dynasty for the four pharaohs named Thutmose. The Tully Papyrus describes a huge UFO sighting, a fleet of UFOs actually, that occurred during the reign of Thutmose III, who ordered his scribes to write the incident on a papyrus after he had witnessed all this himself. And actually, he was in shock of this. Although the text is centuries old, it first became a sensation in the 1930s. In 1933, Alberto Tully, a director of the Egyptian section of the Vatican Museum, was walking through the bazaar of Cairo, Egypt, where he allegedly saw a piece of ancient papyrus in an antique shop that dated 1480 BC. As the artifact was too expensive for him, he made a copy of the original and replaced the original hieratic script with hieroglyphs. Tully's copied version of ancient papyrus allowed the skeptics to challenge its authenticity, but still it managed to become viral among fans of ancient astronaut theorists and ufologists. The text was translated twice by Italian nobleman Prince Boris de Raschewilz and by anthropologist R. Cedric Leonard. Raschewilz was the first person who declared that the papyrus was part of the annals of Thutmose III, and this is what his translation said. In the year 22 of the third month of winter, the sixth hour of the day, which is basically noon, among the scribes of the house of life, it was found that a circle of fire was coming in the sky. It had no head. The breath of its mouth emitted a foul odor. Its body was 1 rod in length and 1 rod in width. It had no voice. It came towards His Majesty's house, meaning the Pharaoh. Their heart became confused through it, and they fell upon their bellies. They fell flat on their face because they were so shocked by it. They went to the king, the Pharaoh, to report it. His Majesty ordered that the scrolls located in the House of Life be consulted. His Majesty meditated on all these events which were now going on. Further, the papyrus explained the details of the structure of the UFOs and its huge impact on the surroundings. The translation says the object was shining in the sky brighter than the sun. The incident occurred in the early hours of the evening. The king and his army witnessed it. The object was called a circle of fire. Thereupon, the fire circles, went up higher, directed to south. Fishes and volatiles fell down from the sky. It was a marvel never occurred since the foundation of this land. It caused His Majesty to be brought incense to pacify the hearth. What happened in the book of the House of Life to be remembered for the eternity. So they burned incense to appease the gods, I guess, to get rid of all this. Now, there are a lot of controversies around the Tully Papyrus that show a lack of conviction, but if this impressive aerial phenomenon is true, then ancient Egyptian astronomers would have never mistaken a meteor or a shooting star as a circle of fire, because it came down and it went back up again. Now later in the 1950s, Ratcher will claim that to have found a toned version of the papyrus that is untranslated and unpublished in the files left by Alberto Tully. The text says that fiery discs or circles of fire created doubts, though it would be highly unlikely for ancient Egyptians to misinterpret all this. In 1968, the United States Air Force funded the UFO project Condon Committee, and while preparing the Condon report, Samuel Rosenberg and Edward Condon investigated the Tully Papyrus. They asked the Vatican for the original document, but received a reply that, quote, "The Papyrus Tully is not the property of the Vatican Museum. It has disappeared and is no longer traceable," end quote. On further research, it was found out that Alberto Tully left all his property to his brother, who was a priest at the Lateran Palace. It's very likely that the papyrus also passed to the priest. Unfortunately, the priest also died shortly afterwards, and his belongings were passed on to his family, who might not have considered the Tully Papyrus valuable. There's also no original papyrus, or might be missing or hidden. It cannot be correct to reach any conclusion because Tully Papyrus is not an authentic papyrus, but a translation of the modern transcription of an alleged Egyptian document. And this is by House and Wise Vicky Verma. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.